So thanks for having me here. This is really cool. I've spent a lot of time in England in the past, but this is my first time to spend any amount of time in Yorkshire and in Sheffield. So it's really lovely. I really enjoy it. Thank you for having me. First off, secondly, this is a Q&A, so we can just talk to each other, get to know each other, ask me questions. Don't be shy. In fact, if we want to just open it up to questions, I'll let you pick. Oh yeah, you.
So do you remember my challenge?
Wait, hold on. I wait for God to stop talking. So rude. Sorry.
So do you remember my challenge that I'm going to ask you a question?
I remember you saying that you were going to ask me a question that I have never been asked before in my career, and I'm skeptical. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I'm interested to see what you will come up with.
So it's more anime based. So
what?
It's both as a director side and a voice actor side. You know when you do like a back story?
Yeah.
Like, so you've already done a scene and then the story goes on and then they go back to it.
Yeah.
So like a backflash.
Right.
Do you do the exact same, like, do they just use the audio you used before or do you have to redo it?
It depends on the animation. Sometimes it's called like a flashback scene. If it's animated a little differently, we tend to have to re-record it because the flaps, what we call flaps, or what we call like the mouth movements, which as voice actors we have to match in a dub. If those are animated any differently, then we have to go back because then the old stuff doesn't fit anymore and it would look awkward. So, but if you do have to re-record it, you do try to re-record it in as much the same vein so it won't stand out. So we're like, wait, that's not what they did before. But sometimes you have to rewrite the lines because they no longer fit. Like, well, that's interesting. The character's going to remember it differently. Awesome. It's rare. Most of the time, flashbacks are the exact same animation, so we don't have to go back and record it. We just use what we did whenever it was recorded the first time. Yeah.
Have you been asked that before?
Yes.
Oh.
It was a noble. To be fair, I've only been asked that once.
Okay.
And it was like 4 years ago. So
I win.
No. You have a very generous definition of the word win, my dear. But it was a noble effort. You certainly get a gold star for effort. Who's got another question?
Do you plan on working with the YouTuber CWA in the future?
Yes.
I mean, he's a really cool guy, and he's not hard on the eyes, so if he wanted to work with me, I would be open to it. So we might have done something this morning that you might have to check his YouTube channel out later to see. What? Oh, scandal, shock, appalled. What? Dave, oh my god. Yeah, we drank together last night. He's really very charming, and it is true. He is very bootylicious. He told me this, people like my butt. I'm like, well, let's see it. Oh, that's nice. Fully clothed. I shouldn't say that. I'm like, take your pants off. Like, I don't. That was later. But at first, I'm kidding. He deserves it. Yeah, I love him. I think it's really funny. So I should say, in this business, if you're a voice actor, you meet people all the time who think they can do your voice, and they suck. They'll be like, I can do such a great version of you. You're like, let's hear it. Like, you want to hear my Sebastian? I'm like, yeah, let's hear it. They go, yes, my lord. You're like, wow, I'm not threatened at all. But then I heard this guy, somebody like pointed out to him, they're like, this guy really does your voice. I'm like, sure he does, whatever. And I listened to it, it's like, yes, my lord. And I'm like, I must kill him. He straight up asked me, he's like, so I was thinking about coming to Texas and Funimation. I'm like, no. Don't come anywhere near Funimation. I'm Funimation's Brit. I'm not ready to pass the torch yet. Go to LA. No, he's fabulous. I would love to work with him. He's super funny, and that voice. Oh. I get it. I want to squeal every time he says a line. Oh, there's like a peanut gallery up there. I'm like, that's if anyone starts hitting us with water balloons, we know who's responsible. Who's got another question? Oh, Kurisu. I mean, Christina. I mean, assistant.
Not Christina.
You're like, not Christina. Take the flip.
If you was to gain the rights for the Steins Gate Zero anime, would you reprise your role as a...
Oh, absolutely, in a heartbeat. Like, if it was Steins Gate related in any way, shape, or form, and they wanted me to do anything with it, I'd be like, yes, absolutely. Has anyone here, who here has seen Steins Gate? Oh, awesome! That's so cool. Like every time I do a panel, more and more people have seen Steins Gate. If you have not seen Steins Gate yet, please treat yourself. I say this I don't say this very often, but I don't like to pick favorites shows I've worked on, because I've worked on a bunch of stuff and they've all been really, really cool, and I've gotten to breathe life into some really awesome characters. So like picking a favorite is really difficult. It's like picking a favorite child. So if anyone has a favorites question, incidentally, what it does to my head, see, all the characters I've ever played, or written for, or both, are still in here somewhere. They're like, it's like a room full of people with their own voices and their own point of view, and they're in here all the time, and they're frequently arguing with each other whenever I do the most mundane things, like shave, or decide to get a cup of coffee, and they're always going blah, 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 and it's all I can do to quiet them. And so if I were to pick a favorite and go, oh, my favorite is this, then I would go back to my hotel room tonight and have 200 other characters in my head going, you're a bastard. I thought we had something special. So I'm very, very loath to play the favorites game, but without a doubt, the best show I have ever worked on in terms of just quality and how just beautifully conceived it is, how wonderfully it's animated, the journey it takes the viewer on. Steins Gate is hands down the most emotional roller coaster, and it's such a sophisticated, beautiful show. Also, in my opinion, one of the best representation of time travel in a quasi-realistic setting that I've ever seen. Also, because I got to write it, I got to throw in a lot of Doctor Who references, which some of the American people were like, what's that? I'm like, oh, shut up, watch Doctor Who, be better people. So when I would hear people like, well, so I had to figure out, so I actually started watching Doctor Who because of Steins Gate, I'm like, yes! Drop the mic.
Closest you could get to being the Doctor.
Would I get to be the Doctor?
Yeah, Michael J. Tatum for Doctor.
Right, that's the close. Thanks. Wow. That hurts coming from a Brit. Oh. It's so authoritarian. Like if an American says it, like, you're American, what do you know? But if a Brit says it, it's like, oh, you're never going to be the Doctor. I'm like, no, you're probably right. That's okay.
You can do it!
That's okay. I know. Right, there's Sebastian's voice. Can I just again say how deeply gratifying it is to come to the UK? It's so, none of you will ever understand what it's like to go to the country the origin of an accent that you're known for. You're like, I hope they like it, because, it's actually their accent. Or at least it comes from that country. And Dad would be like, oh, I love your Sebastian. I'm like, oh, thank God. I was so ready for all of you to be like, well, we love Sebastian, but we have some notes. I'll never be the Doctor. Who's got, sorry, question. You had a question. I ramble. You may have noticed I ramble. So, hello. Huh? Talk to the mic so I can hear. Because it's really hard. I'm an old man, so it's like.
So, are there any characters? Sorry.
No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Are there any characters that brought you out of your comfort zone, and what were?
Oh, characters that have brought me out of my comfort zone. So I'm a big believer in pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and that's what attracts me to acting, because I get to, put myself in situations or roles that I would never. One of the great things about being a voice actor, and I swear to God I'll answer your question, but one of the great things about being a voice actor is that I'm not limited by how I look. If you do film or stage, to less of an extent stage, but certainly on film you're very limited by your look. So if I were to do more film, I would probably play more of the same types of characters, especially in the States. You're very limited by your look, and I'm 6'4" and 200 pounds, and I've got the jaw and the glasses and the hair, and so I would probably always play like military or a cop or something. And which is not to say I wouldn't be happy for the work, but I wouldn't get to explore my range as much. I feel like I would always be up for the same types of roles because of how I look. As a voice actor, no one gives a damn how you look. They don't even care how you dress. I've done recordings in my PJs before, in the studio. I've taken my pants off before, and they're like, that's fine, it's whatever. They only care about what your voice can do. And I feel like I've got more of a range with my voice than I do with my look. And so being an actor and loving kind of being pushed outside of my comfort zone, voice acting has given me the opportunity to be pushed out of my comfort zone, because I frequently get cast as something that I would never, ever have a hope of even getting to audition for this part if it was film. But because it happens to be anime or a game, and it doesn't matter that I'm 6'4", they can still have me play someone that's like 3 feet tall and 100 years old, and I can push myself outside of my comfort zone, or have the director push me outside of my comfort zone, which I love it, because acting for me the privilege of it is, one, you're getting to tell a story that will go out and hopefully reach people and, you know, help them learn something about yourselves. But the great appeal of acting for the actor is that, you know, I get to sort of pretend to be other people and in the process find out, oh, it's just me. Somewhere inside of me, there's that person. Wow, who knew? And so it's really cool. So thank you. I love, and it's not often that you get to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, because frequently you'll be like, oh, I know this, I know. You know, I'm very comfortable with a lot of things. But throughout my career, I think voice acting has pushed me more often than any other kind of acting, because, you know, I'm like, oh, I can try that voice, whoever, you know. I always get cast as things, or always, in the early days, I would get cast for things that really surprised me that I was cast. There's a show, for example, called Heroic Age, which is about 10, 12 years old now. And I got to work on it as an adaptive writer, and I thought it was really, really fun. It was very much kind of a love letter to the anime I grew up watching a million years ago. And the main character was this 17-year-old kid with a very high-pitched, very high-energy voice. It didn't sound at all like me, and so when I came to audition, I didn't try out for him, and the director, my friend Joel McDonald, was like, I want you to read for H, this character. And I'm like, really? Okay. And so I just kind of pushed myself and produced what I thought was utter crap. I went home and like, well, that's funny, we'll just laugh and never speak of that again. And then I got the part, and I played it, and Joel was like, no, I think that's really good, I think you should push yourself. And that was a great, like, an opportunity that I never would have taken that chance had my director not been like, no, let's just push you out. So I love it. Does that answer your question? Awesome. Who's got another one?
Have you ever
Down here.
Oh, hi.
Have you ever accidentally slipped into a character before while talking to another?
Frequently. We were recording season 2 of Black Butler and a season of Italia at about the same time. Right, and I mean, you get this joke because you're English, so imagine like having to do British and then having to do French in like the same hour. Like I would be like, oh, here I'm doing Sebastian, that sounds nasty, I'm performing. I mean, it doesn't sound that nasty, let's be honest. But I could, you know, I was in here like recording for Sebastian for several hours, and then like, hey, can you pop down the hall and do a couple of lines for France for this week's episode? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, you know, if you spend, you know, 3 or 4 hours doing this voice, hello, oh yes, my lord, and blah, 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 butler and salt and blah, blah, blah. And then you have to go down and be like, hello, how are you? And it was weird. So it was because the two accents just like clash. They don't want to get along, and it was really funny. Like I've been asked frequently in America. One of the favorite fan questions is like, so can you act out what would happen if France and Sebastian met? Can you just act like they love doing that? Like, hey, can you do 2 characters at the total extremes of the accent range and just make them talk to each other right here in front of all of us, unscripted? And I'm like, sure, why not? And so my answer has always been like, oh my God, you're so sexy. Do you want to come work for me? No. Thank you. There's another one. You pick. I can't pick. I love not having to pick. There's no pressure.
Any questions up at the peanut gallery?
We can't hear you anyway. I'm just waiting for one of them to scream, who are you? Why does anyone care? Yes, you darling.
Okay, so this is more of a request.
More of a request.
Yeah.
So it's a request.
I'd love it if you would do the France laugh for me.
I will do the France laugh if you can tell me a really cheesy knock-knock joke. You can phone a friend, it's fine. Like you can ask somebody who's got a good knock-knock joke, and I'll do the laugh.
Yeah.
All right.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
Can I tell a funny story real quick about the French accent? So I've spent a lot of time in Canada, which is our neighbor to the north back home, and the first time I went to Montreal, I speak, you know, enough French to get around pretty well, but I've never experienced the Quebecois accent, which is very different. It's like French with a cracker in your mouth. It's intense, and I love it. But I thought, oh man, I'm really out of practice with my French. I can read it and understand it really well, but speaking it's a whole other thing. So I was, in the months before I was going to do this con there, I thought, I'm going to study up on my French, and I'm going to, just because I want to try to speak as much French as possible, because I just think it's a nice thing to do. If you're going to another country to try to speak a little bit of their language, it's just, you know, it's a nice thing to do. I'm a guest, I'm going to try to earn it. So I get off the plane. For 3 months, I've been like, okay, yes, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just so prepared to talk French. And I get off the plane, and I'm on the spot. My French liaison, beautiful, beautiful girl named Eva comes up to me, and she's like, and she speaks French to me first. Just as a polite kind of welcome to Montreal, she's like, bienvenue, Mr. Tatum. And my first ridiculous instinct is to speak at her in a French accent in English. So instead of being like, oh, whatever, I'm just like, oh, thank you, it's so nice to be here. I am so sorry. But because it was a Parisian French accent, she thought it was hysterical, because they hate the French too. She's like, oh no, we hate them, it's good, come on. I'm like, oh thank God. You think it's nervous for me to be here in front of a bunch of English, like a bunch of Brits going, do Sebastian's voice, and I'm like, okay, but it's your voice. You realize, I'm sorry. But to be in Quebecois, Canada, and be like, do the French accent, and I'm like, do the French laugh, make fun of us. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, that's funny, that sounds so stupid. It's great, I love it. I love Montreal. Who's got a question now?
Can you tell us some really random story you haven't said on a panel?
A really random story that happened on a panel.
You haven't said on a panel?
That I haven't said on a panel? There's really not much I haven't said on a panel. Can you, what?
I watch a lot of YouTube videos about panels, so...
So you've heard everything. Yeah, I can't think of any random stories that I haven't said. I'll get back to that. Let me think about it and I'll revisit it. It's a good question. Sorry. Who's got another one? I failed. Yes. Who's got the mic? Oh, there you are. You're all hiding down there. Hi.
Do you enjoy watching the anime as you do voices for?
Yes and no. I love watching the original. She's like, back off, I'm not done. I've got the mic. I ask all the questions from now on. Go away. I love you. What? He's got his own mic. What was it going? Oh, yes. So I love watching the original Japanese, and I frequently watch the entire show because I work as an adaptive writer. So I'll work on it and be like, oh my God, I love that show. And then I sometimes like watching the dubs of stuff that I'm not in, because colleagues of mine, I'm like, oh, that's wonderful, you did a great job, but you really brought that character to life. It's really hard to hear your own voice. And to watch your own performance. Not because I think I'm bad. I'm not like, oh, I'm terrible. I mean, clearly, it's what I do for a living, so I can't be that awful at it. But I love recording so much. Like, I love being in the booth and the experience of kind of putting it all together and being there with the director and the engineer and watching the script unfold. Like, it's such a wonderful experience that going back and watching it weeks, months, sometimes years later is kind of sad for me, because I'm like, oh, it's just like a memory. It's like a scrapbook of like my favorite time. And it's also, to me, one of the best parts of acting is getting to do multiple takes, and each time you can kind of give something a little different and play with the character and be like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this, and you would give the director like a whole palette of choices that they can build the performance they want out of. It's so much fun to do. Well, when you're watching the final product, it's done, it's over, there's nothing more you can do, so it's kind of like, I would do that differently. And everyone's ever had the experience of recording yourself, like a recording or a performance, and you watch it later, you go like, oh, I would make so many different choices now. Well, of course you would. You would always do that. You can't, no one gets out of that mindset, however many years you've been acting. So watching your own work and seeing it kind of in stone is weird. You're like, oh, there's nothing, it's stuck, it's that way forever now, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. So it's weird. I do feel it's necessary to watch your own stuff when you can, because it teaches you, like, oh, I could have done that better. What's missing, or what's this? Or like, oh, that really, I sound like that. But for the most part, I tend to kind of avoid it. There's only a select few things that I've watched all the way through multiple times, because I just love the show that much that I'm like, oh, I can get over that awful guy that's playing that character, me. But yeah. Did you have a follow-up question?
It's more of a request that I think every CL fangirl in this room will appreciate. I think I asked you to say this earlier, but can you say CL, do you like it ripping a Spencer?
No, I don't want to say. No. Can we talk for a moment about the shippers who love CL and Sebastian?
If you don't ship your CL and Sebastian looks like his dad.
Okay, two things. One, Sebastian's way older, and I know if you identify with CL, I get why you want Sebastian. But what the hell does Sebastian get out of that relationship? Oh, awesome, I'm gonna date a trust fund brat who can't tie his own damn shoes. Like, that is a one-sided relationship. Also, Sebastian looks like his dad, and that's gross. I don't want to date my dad. I might date your dad. That's a different story. I ship Sebastian and Grell, just because I think... I just love the odd couple thing. It's like you have Grell, who's just a force of nature, who's like, la! And Sebastian's like, oh god. I would watch that show, The Odd Couple. Sorry, I didn't mean to break your dreams. But...
You said it before on a panel.
Yeah, for you. That was just for you.
No, I wasn't on a panel.
I said it for a panel. It was years ago. It was a different person then. No. I love you, but no. Ship something else. I love you. I'm not God. Who are you praying to?
I worship you.
So that's how I know you're crazy. Who's got another question?
Does have a dream?
Oh, wow, they're back there now. Oh, hi. Wait. Speak. Who's got the microphone? Oh, there you are. Sorry. I thought they were behind me. I'm like, yes. Sorry.
Shocked me, sorry. Does acting as Mickey Malcolm on Confessionals make you want to do more normal acting, or would you rather just...
I love normal acting. There's no such thing as normal acting. Yeah, I had so much fun. I did a lot of stage and film when I was younger, before voice acting really took off for me. And voice acting just happened to be the thing that I'm like, oh, cool, I'm doing more of that than anything else, so I chose to focus on it. But I do like doing on-camera stuff. Like I said earlier, though, it's more limiting on camera. When you're doing on-camera stuff, you're very much judged by your appearance. Like, you go into a casting room and you may be an amazing actor that have like the most sophisticated and nuanced take on a character, and you may give them a read that makes them go, oh my god, I really felt something. You clearly know this character. If only your hair wasn't blonde. You know, and so it's really it's more of a struggle to explore your range on camera because you're so limited by your appearance. But it's fun doing Confessionals, the web series that we've worked on, and now the first season is coming out. I think we're at episode 3 will hit tomorrow. And oh my god, it's so much fun because I'm getting to play an asinine version of myself, which is great. Like, I'm getting to play this character that's like I'm like, awesome, I don't have to hold back, I can just be me. It's not really acting. It's just with the accent, that's the only difference. It's really funny. But yeah, it's fun. Like, Brandon, my partner, is playing my partner in the series, and it's really funny. He gets to explore being a complete asshole. Because he's not. In real life, he is the sweetest, most cinnamon roll human being you'll ever meet in your life. But, you know, in the show, he's like, oh, God, Joseph, you're stupid! And it's like, kind of love watching that side of him. You just do that occasionally. It's just like, it's kind of hot watching you yell at people. Also, I just love working off of my colleagues that I've known for years, like Jeremy and John and Jamie and all these people that are voice actors that John has brought together for the project. We've worked together for years as voice actors, but most of the time as voice actors, we don't get to actually work off of each other in real time. Like, when we're doing a dub, we record at different times. So, you're hearing a conversation, but it was actually recorded, sometimes weeks apart. And so we get to know each other at cons. We're like, oh yeah, we were in that show together. You were awesome. I loved your performance. And people think, wow, you've never met? Yeah, no, this is the first time we've met. And so it's really nice to actually get to do scenes with them, traditional kind of acting where you get to rehearse and go and oh, let's try this, and actually get to work off of them in real time. And then go back and do multiple takes to play with it again and again. That's so much fun to get to work with your acting colleagues that you've admired being with and being part of the industry for so long, and finally getting to explore new avenues together. So thank you for bringing up Confessionals. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Confessionals is a wonderful web series written and directed by John Christie. It stars myself and Jeremy Lee and Brandon and, my god, 1,000 other voice actors who will crop up surprisingly. And it's kind of like a mockumentary about actors, voice actors on the convention circuit, and we're all playing overblown, ridiculously insufferable versions of ourselves. And it's wonderful. I love doing it. So, thank you. Who's got the next question?
We've got a crazy lady with a chainsaw. I feel threatened if we don't go there.
Grell.
It's Grell. Never give the mic to a Grell.
Hi, Bessie.
Oh,
How you
shit.
doing?
Hi. Was that your question? Awesome. Who's got another question?
Come back to me, thank you. Would you ever turn up to a con cosplaying Sebby? I'm Grail Sutcliffe, whoever asked!
I would love to cosplay Sebastian, except there's a problem. I look nothing like him.
So, I don't look like Grail, apparently.
You look like Grill to me. I don't know how you cosplayers do it. Those wigs drive me crazy. After like 5 minutes, I'd be like, son of a bitch!
This is my hair!
That's your actual hair?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, never mind. Now you really do look like Grill. Who's got the next question? Hello.
Hi, two things. One, you know Kami-sama Kiss?
Yeah.
Was there a particular line in that series that maybe you had difficulty with or that just sticks out for you in memory?
I wish I could say so, but no. And let me speak to why. Tomoe is such a long-winded guy. He doesn't have a lot of one-liners. Like Sebastian, has his monologues, but he's always got the sort of go-to line, the sort of "yes, my lords," and the "if I could do this much for my young lord," blah 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 blah. So he's got a few key lines, but Tomoe doesn't do that. Tomoe is he's always eye-rolling. He's always kind of, oh my god. It's something that Nanami has said or done. So I can't think of any lines that I struggled with because also when the character was being written, adapted, it was a friend of mine who was adapting it, Jamie Markey, and she was like, I'm totally writing this for you. And she knows me better than just about anybody else in the world. And so she was like, I'm totally going to write, this is Tatum, this is just you. This is how you speak. And I'm like, it really kind of is. It's just, it's slightly more elevated. But, so yeah, it wasn't very difficult.
And the second thing is, about the Sebastian voice, just be glad that it wasn't a Northerner's voice or Cockney. You would have probably really struggled with that.
Yeah, I would have had a very different impact if it was like, yes, my lord. Oh my god.
Try doing the northern accent now.
What?
Try doing the northern accent.
How? I don't even understand.
Do a Jon Snow impression.
What, Jon Snow? Like, he doesn't... Am I doing it right? Because all I know, when I've been up to... Is it...
That's a bit too southern, mate.
Too southern? How the fuck?
I'm Northern.
You're Northern? Northern?
Yeah.
Northern?
Yeah.
So like, TH is pronounced as a V?
Pretty much.
Northern. How would you say, I'm simply one hell of a butler?
I'm simply one hell of a butler.
Oh. Well, after all, I'm simply one hell of a butler. So, true story, the first time I came to the UK for a con, I went to Sunderland. Yeah, you were there. It was a wonderful con, but I had never encountered that accent, and I thought, I know my British accents. I know London and I know Cockney, and I can get around in most of those. And then I go to Sunderland, I'm like, what is this sound? I don't even know. That was my first encounter, which some of you who've gone through my autograph line have been like, oh, I need to write it down for you because Tatum doesn't understand what I'm saying. Because they'll come up and it's like my favorite thing in the world. Like, so back in America, someone comes up and says like, oh my god, I'm such a fan. Could you sign this? Could you make this out to Heather, please? And I know how to spell Heather, so I'm like, oh cool, H-E-A-T-H-R-E, whatever, blah blah blah. I swear to God, I actually know how to spell it. But like, at SunnyCon, which is wonderful, and it's so like, I don't mean this to sound like a judgment. It was just like, I thought I knew the British accent, and clearly I have not gone north enough.
You couldn't say my name.
I still can't say your name.
It's only Megan.
Did anyone know what she said? Megan! I just heard a bunch of Megan. I'm so mean. I'm sorry. But see, the Americans would butcher that by being like, Megan. Megan. It's like the downward thing. It was also, let me just talk for a moment about the northern. Like, all weekend long at that con, I kept hearing, Campo.
Brandon said.
Right, Campo. And I'd be just like, sure, having no idea what I was agreeing to. And finally, someone explained, no, I'm saying, can I have a photo? And I'm like, that's 7 syllables smashed into a diphthong. How do you do that? Can I have a photo becomes Campo. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's your language. Just means you've had it longer to mess it up. Sorry, I love you. But as an American, like, it's really funny to sit down and have someone come like, could you make this out to Heather, please? And I'm like, I'm not sure what you say. Could you spell it? And you think that's going to get you out of it. And they go, and I'm like, I don't. Stupid American. Blame the American education system, everyone. It's our fault entirely. No Scottish. Oh. Again, I love that accent, but it's one of those, like, I'm catching every other word. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing talking about accents. What? Ask them to have me. I would come back.
I'd go back for that.
You would go back for that?
Especially the 18 plus panel.
That 18 up panel. It's even further north now. I love like Sunderland was like the land of the magical out for like 8 hours and then it's gone. It's crazy. I loved it though. I loved it. It was really wonderful. Who's got another question before I make an ass of myself? Yes.
What's the most unusual thing you've had to do to either get into character or get a read to sound right?
There's a scene in Black Butler where Sebastian is, shall we say, interrogating a nun. You dirty-minded Brits. And what? There's no ring on this finger, or this finger, or this finger. I love you. Sorry, I wanted to do that to someone all weekend. So Ian Sinclair, who's Bart, and also the show's director, is just glorious, and he's very method, so he's like, oh, I want you to do this, and he wanted me to do the line, and I forget now what the line is that he says while you see clearly things are going on, that you're like, oh, shocking. And he was like, oh, it's a good read, but it needs more, like, movement. Can you give us a little thrust? And I'm like, yes, I suppose. So I do it, and like he makes me do it like again and again until I'm like straight up dirty dancing in the booth, like making a jackass of myself. And I'm like, oh, he's doing the line, and I realize Ian's just watching me do it. They're not even recording anymore. He just wants to see what I'll do. And he's like, could you one more time? I just feel, and I'm like, all right, we'll do this. And he's like, oh, you did it, you sick, twisted bastard. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was weird. That was weird. Yeah, that's thankfully the weirdest that's ever had to get. Who's got the mic now?
I have.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh, you rise up out of the floor.
Sorry. No, we asked this question earlier to you, and because you play the role of Kiyoya so well, has anyone called you mommy yet?
All the time, every day of my life. Then that's weird. It's, hello, mommy, and I'm like, I'm not ready to be a mother. I love your cosplay, by the way.
I've got two questions.
All right.
One's from a friend of yours. Have you ever been in Lazy Town?
No, I've not been in Lazy Town.
And the second one is, how bad did that shaving foam taste yesterday?
Disgusting. I thought it was whipped cream. I was told there would be pie. But here's the true story. While I was tasting it, part of me was like, maybe that's just what whipped cream tastes like in England.
Oh!
No, I mean, I thought maybe they just do it differently here. I'm like, no, that's shaving cream. Like, but for a split second, my brain was like, you know. And then I was like, oh no, that's the grossest thing ever. It was disgusting. I was like, pie, don't call it pie. Weird. Yes?
Voice role you've absolutely hated.
Wait, did you say that a little louder?
Has there ever been a voice role you've absolutely hated and you were glad you...
I'm at the panel.
Never once. And I'll explain why. I mean, that may sound like I'm just kind of blowing smoke up your bum, but I'm really not. I said bum. So proud of myself. Sorry, I'm just gonna soak that up for a moment. So acting is I feel like I've worked on a lot of shows that I am not the audience for. Like, I realize that, well, this isn't meant to target me, and it's not going to speak to my experience the way it will to someone else in a different place in their life. But as an actor, it's not my job to be the audience of something I'm working on. It's my job to be the actor, and that means going in and breathing life into it and paying my respects to the people that it is meant for. And it's a fun job. It's a wonderful job, and there are so many people that would just, you know, give anything the chance to do it, that if I would show up and working on something like, oh, this sucks, like, that's a failure of my own imagination to find something about the process, even on a show that I don't get necessarily, and it hasn't happened often. But I feel like it's my responsibility to love everything I'm doing, because there is someone out there who does love it, And I want them to love it. I don't want to insult them by giving a half-assed performance that I stoop to give because I think the material is beneath me. I'm like, no, this is really special to someone. And I want to make sure that I treat it with respect because you never know how someone's going to take it. Some show that I worked on for maybe 2 hours, all of 2 hours, and thought, well, that was cool, and then forgot about it because you move on to other things, comes back and you realize, wow, someone comes up with this, oh my God, that one time you were in this one episode of this one thing, and I'd completely forgotten about it because for whatever reason it just made no lasting impression on me. And then I realized, wow, to this person that's talking to me right now, this is someone for whom that show really just, the fact that it existed, really helped them through a tough time, perhaps, or it gave them something to latch on to. It helped them understand something about themselves. I mean, the point is, as an actor, I never know how my performance is gonna play to someone else. And so I learned if I just gotta be real with it and I gotta love what I do so that it plays at all, and then just let people love it. Does that make sense? So I've never hated anything I've done because I feel if I ever reach a point in my career where I am hating something I'm doing, I'm in the wrong business. There's no room for hate. Life is too short, and if I don't like something, that's my own failure to find something in it to like. You do have to work sometimes to find something to love, but it's there. And I'm an actor. I'm supposed to use my imagination. If I can't imagine my way into a role that otherwise eludes me, I've been miscast, and I shouldn't be doing it. So no, I have never worked on something that I hate. But thank you for asking. Sorry, I got all serious there. Yes.
So when you were doing Black Butler season 1, how did you feel about the corset scene?
Oh, the corset scene. The corset scene, first of all, I didn't have to do any recording for the corset scene because Sebastian doesn't say anything. But when they showed me that, I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, oh no, I don't want this to be that kind of show. Please don't be this kind of show. I don't want this, I don't support that, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, it's funny, it's a joke, it's not actually. I'm like, thank God. So my first reaction was, what the hell have I signed up for? And why wasn't I told this was the kind of show it was? And then to being like, oh, thank God, it's just a joke. Whew, okay, whew. Yeah. I hate the corset scene. I think it's funny. I hate the corset scene. Who's got the mic now? Oh, my Yuri.
Yeah, I was gonna say doo-doo-doo.
Oh, the feels.
And have you ever apologized or felt bad for what happened to Mayuri?
Oh God. Why do you say it like that? And I had so many emotional breakdowns while writing and recording that show, Steins Gate. True story. I think it's episode 13 or 14. It's in there. It's after the midway point where things get real. Where I had just been working on the show for so nonstop because I would write it at home at night and then go in to record an episode the next day for 6-8 hours because Okabe very dialogue heavy. And then it's a very emotional show, and I wasn't working on much else at the time because I was totally focused on this because we were trying to get it out the door, and I was like, oh my God. So I was that character. I was Okabe for 6 months. Just writing at home, and then recording it, and then coming home, and writing it, and then going in and recording it the next day. It was a repeat. And on weekends I would just sleep. And it's a very emotional show, and it's a very real show at several points. The character goes through some major emotional, hurricanes. And about episode, I think it's 13 or 14, forgive me if I can't remember the actual episode number, I don't think in episode numbers, I just think in terms of the entire story. But there's a scene where he's in the back seat of the car, remember, you know what I'm talking about, and he's crying and pleading for the life of his friend, at great peril to his own. And it's a wonderful scene because it's the first time we as an audience kind of see his more vulnerable side. Okabe is such a arrogant guy, and I mean, we all get that it's put on, that it's a coping mechanism he's using to kind of, because he feels like a nobody, and so he gets over it by being like, I'm somebody and I'm a mad scientist going to take over the world, blah blah blah, and he's completely full of shit. And he is, and he knows it, and everyone kind of they keep him around because they think he's kind of funny to watch, wind down, and then things get very real, and suddenly kind of those coping mechanisms that he's used all his life to kind of deal with not feeling very important, he finally has to kind of strip that away, and he's having this moment in the back seat of this car, a very dangerous moment where he is just crying very just ugly cry, not the beautiful, like, cinematic one tear down one cheek cry, but the, you know, it's a really very real and hard, and the seiyuu in the Japanese nails it, and it's just, I was watching it to write the lines and watching the scene going, oh my God, like, snot out of my nose, you know, and like drinking heavily. I'm like, this is the most emotional I've ever seen, oh my God, and I'm like, I do not envy the poor bastard that has to breathe life into this, oh shit, it's me. And then a couple weeks later, that scene hit in the booth, and so I had to go do it. And because I was tired, and I've been writing the show, and because the show is about time travel and him having to revisit all these different scenes over and over and over again, I was kind of lost in my own head. I'm like, where are we? Who knows? Whatever. But this is what's going on. And so it became very real for me because the character Okabe learns to kind of just latch on to whatever's right in front of him because he doesn't necessarily know what timeline he's in or who remembers what. And so he's just always like whatever in front of him. So he's so hypersensitive to what's going on. And he has that moment where for the first time as an audience, we see him really be vulnerable and really plead and really be desperately humble. And it still doesn't work. It doesn't work. And things go horribly wrong. And so like knowing that he can do nothing, he's still just trying to do something. And it's even talking about it, I get kind of chills. But I totally had a breakdown in the booth. Like I was sitting there recording it, and Colleen Klinkenbeard, the director, was like, oh, such a great scene, I love this, let's do it. And I'm like, yeah, oh shit, here we go. And we start recording that scene, and it's Bill, and everyone else was already recorded, so I had them to play off of, which is, you know, also kind of hyper real. And then I suddenly just lost it. I just started blubbering, and it's like, but I'm still trying to struggle through the lines, because I'm like, no, God damn it, I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, I'm doing this thing, because it's such a moment for him where he's basically saying, I'm nothing, I'm shit, just don't do this thing, please. And that's such a horrible leap for him to have to make, that I just lost it and started crying, and I wound up like kind of just in the corner, just doing this and like sobbing, like trying to like disguise the fact that I was crying. And Colleen, who's a dear friend, was like, Michael, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You know the crying you've done, and afterwards your body's like for like an hour. That was the kind of crying it was. And so she's like, why don't you go outside and like splash some water in your face, walk around, like, have a coffee or something. I'll come back and we'll revisit this. And like, when you go home, I'm like, no, we're gonna do this. And I go and I take a break and I come back. Shut up, Adam. So we come back and she's like, well, sweetie, we have two things. You can record it all again if you want, but everything you did sounded great and super realistic, and I know it's just you and like a lot of pain, but you nailed it. Can we just keep that? And I'm like, yes, I don't want to do it again. Let's just keep that. So if you ever, like, for those of you that haven't seen Steins Gate and you want to listen to me have an actual emotional and mental breakdown in the booth that made it into the final cut because they just thought, hey, that works, let's keep that. Episode 13 or 14 of Steins Gate. You'll know when you see it. It's like, oh my God. I showed it to my boyfriend at the time, who turned to me, excuse me if I dropped the F-bomb, he turned to me after watching that scene and said, fuck you. Fuck you and everything you stand for, putting me through that. And I was like, so you liked it? So thank you, Mayuri. Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, I noticed there's a lot of grills here today.
There's quite a few grills.
And I was just wondering, what would Sebastian's reaction be if he came here and saw this horde of grills?
I think we all know what Sebastian's reaction would be. Walk away. I guess it's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, don't miss the space.
5. There's probably a fit somewhere. There's one on the floor somewhere. Probably somebody behind me, I'm sure. Who's got the microphone? There you are.
Are there any upcoming things you're voicing that we could be looking forward to?
Yeah, I can never talk about them. Attack on Titan season 2 is playing right now. Does everyone know that? Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I get to work on the show as the lead adaptive writer too, but you know, Erwin comes back, of course. So far, I feel like every line of his is like, Levi, go do shit. And that's it. I'm like, oh, whatever. I mean, I like that. Every time I hear Matt's voice as Levi, I'm like, oh. So that's out. Black Butler, Book of Atlantic is... Jesus. People. You're supposed to be British. I expect that from Americans, but I was expecting you to be more subdued. Huh, lesson learned. So yeah, Book of Atlantic should be coming out soon. I know it's being released in America. I think in a couple of weekends. It may get a theatrical run. We'll see. That'll be weird seeing Sebastian on the big screen. I'm like, oh, it's me. And there are other things that I can't talk about yet. That will be really awesome. More Confessionals is coming out. We're season 1 is I think 5 episodes long, and we're up to season 3 will drop. Episode 3 of season 1 will drop tomorrow, and then after that, and then we might, depending on the audience response, we might go into season 2. So we'll see. Support us. Thank you, darling. Yes, you.
Hello. Going back to earlier, what is your favourite British accent? Like, because you've been to like different cons around the UK and stuff, what is your favourite accent?
I feel like I'm gonna piss someone off so badly.
Think carefully.
I don't know. I just love all of them, really. It's kind of like America in the sense that, like, you can't go 5 feet in Britain without running into a completely different accent. Right? I mean, I could just, like, walk out the door and meet someone who's, like, up the road who sounds completely different than someone that's, like, from 2 miles that way. And I love that. I love it because I think it's. I also just love the way the British use English. I mean, it's your language, so of course you've had it longer. But I mean, like, you just use it and like you have all these wonderful turns of phrase and these little sayings and these little just expressions, and there's this music to the voice that I'm just like, oh, I love it. So I don't have a favorite. I really don't. I'd have to sit there and really think about it. Received pronunciation, which is what Sebastian speaks in, which is not a natural dialect. No one comes into the world speaking that. It's nonsense. It's like it's sort of a neutral British that you learn prep school. And it's like, oh no, that sounds, you're going to speak like this because you're going to sound like one of the royals, I imagine. They sort of learn how to speak like this because it's sort of elevated and proper and whatever. We have a similar accent in the States. It's called news anchor neutral, which I have, incidentally. I'm from Texas, and my Texas accent does not show at all. It comes out when I'm drinking. And I become my father. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? And it's like, oh, sorry, that's where I'm from. I'm from McKinney, Texas, is where I grew up, so, it's not that hard to fall into that accent. But Texas is just like England. You can't walk 5 feet without hitting another accent. Because my father's got this sort of East Texas, like, hey, how's it going? What you doing? Hi. And my mother's got this different housewife Texan, like Houston accent, which is like, well, hello, it is really nice to see you. Thanks for coming in, y'all. It's weird. I love it. So what was your question? I don't even know. But I love all the accents. Yes.
Was there, which is your favourite regional accent from England? And if you don't say the North, we will butcher you.
Yes.
I guess it's the North.
The North remembers.
Northern.
Remember this.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
We have time for one more question, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Just really quickly, have you ever heard of a band called Ninja Sex Party?
I've heard of them. I've heard of them, yes.
Okay, and the second question was, have you ever secretly shipped any of your voice role characters together?
Oh.
Maybe I have.
Can you tell us some
I don't know. I mean, let me try to pretend like I haven't thought about this before. It's weird when it's characters I've voiced. Because I'm like, oh, y'all sound great together. It's like supremely egotistical to be like, oh, those two, I just want to hear what it would sound like. That's actually deeply disturbing to me. I don't want to hear myself being sexy. It's weird. I think Commander Irvin is incredibly sexy. It's something about it's those eyebrows. It's those on point, those eyebrows. So I mean, of course I ship he and Levi, but I didn't voice Levi.
Oh.
You are just, I know, they're too close in age for you. What?
I don't like Owen.
That's a you problem, honey. I'm sorry. She hates Erwin. She hates Erwin. She hates a commander that knows what he's doing and keeps people alive. I know, such an asshole he is. Like, I hate Erwin. I hate his eyebrows and I hate his face, but I love you. I'm just picking on you. I would ship Erwin and Scar.
Oh!
That would be hot. I'm not gonna lie, that would be really hot. and weird to voice. Like, that's a scene I hope no one ever actually asked me to do. 'Cause that's weird.
Do it!
No! No!
I'll buy you a drink!
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. I am not gonna do a sex scene for you people. No. You do not have the cash.
I do.
I'll work on it, and I'll get back to you.
This is a casual reminder that this is PG-13. PG-13 audience, please keep your weird fantasies to yourselves. Thank you.
And I find it hilarious when anyone ships anyone in Attack on Titan. Like, that's a show about death and destruction and being eaten alive. And people are like, oh, but they're sexy together. I'm like, you are watching the wrong show. That is not what it's about.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's been wonderful, Mr. J. Tatum!
Thank you, I love you. I'm running off to my photo shoot now, so I'll see you all later. Thanks for letting me come to your con. It's been a wonderful time.